a lot of ways you can be sabotaged around this. I've identified 5 primary, call them types or personalities. The way that I'm presenting them here is how they're showing up now, right? So I'm not going back into your childhood or anything. We're looking at the lens of this is how these saboteurs could be showing up now in your life. The first one I'd like you to know about is the attendant. And the attendant is definitely one of my favorites because she looks amazing. She's caretaking, she's giving, she's always putting people first. And the problem is she's not just giving, she's over-giving. She really has no idea how to healthfully set a boundary, how to healthfully say no. She feels if she can't be giving, she doesn't have a purpose. So we see that a lot, in caretaking positions and in employment, but it can be part of our saboteur makeup. Now, I've had all of these at one time or another. What I would say now is most people have like a combination of 2 that are predominant, and then they might dip their toe into another one. So I'll keep going here. The second saboteur I'd like you to know about today is the hyper empath. Now, we've heard this phrase, hypersensitive, highly sensitive person, HSPs, but this is slightly different. So this is really someone who knows already that they're an empath. They utilize this, they count on it to be able to be safe in the world. They might have turned it into a profession and become a healer because they're able to feel into people's energy, that's out here. But the problem is they're not knowing what's going on in here. They can get so mixed up, so convoluted, so muddy that their own feelings are just like hidden in this roller coaster of energy. So they're constantly having to protect themselves, watch out for what's going on. They could be in a state of hyper alertness all the time. It takes a lot of energy if you're a hyper empath and you don't know how to manage that and to unplug from the saboteur. The third saboteur is the silent sufferer. Now, I would say this one, there's fewer people, if we're going to take a demographic, fewer that have this, but almost everybody touches into it at one point or another. I had it big time. The way that it showed up for me was having physical pain first. I had actual physical pain, and the physical pain that I was having, I wasn't able to understand. No one could give me a diagnosis that meant anything. I spent many, many dollars on trying to figure that out, many years. And at a certain point, the pain, it went from pain into then emotional pain. So then I'd have the physical pain, and then I'd have all the shame of the emotions of what's wrong with me. There's now something wrong with me because nobody can figure this out. And it was a constant battle, feeling like I had to defend myself around my body and the pain and taking care of my needs. And I could identify some of my needs, but it was a lot for other people to comprehend and be compassionate around. And you don't have to have physical pain to be a silent sufferer. You can also be on the emotional scale. So you maybe don't know how to get your emotional needs met. And so you keep it to yourself, right? You just keep it to yourself. So the way that it really looks is the silent sufferer is suffering a lot and not able to speak up for the needs that she has. She doesn't know who to turn to, how to ask for what she needs in a healthy way that isn't codependent in those relationships. And so it just gets bigger and bigger inside her until there's some kind of breakdown somewhere. And you can see it in maybe daily breakdowns or like being in your car and wanting to scream, a little too often. Like I'm all for healthy release, but when there's the habit of the buildup of whether it's physical pain or emotional, this is probably linked to the silent sufferer, that you have no rights, that you shouldn't be asking, be quiet, sit there, you're weird, you're wrong, the whole thing. The next one is the pretender. Now, this is usually a very smart woman, and she's doing a lot for everybody. She probably has a little bit of attendant in there. She probably also has a little bit of silent sufferer. But the main thing is she's really trying to fit into either a family system, a work system, or a cultural system by changing how she speaks, by not speaking up, by proving herself. So there's this element of needing to prove herself quite strongly. That's where it'll really pop out. So she's almost unable to even know what she needs because she's so wrapped up in her to-do list. Got to get this done, this done, this done, this done, this done, this done, this done. This has to happen. She so believes it. She believes she cannot let go for a moment. She believes she cannot stop and breathe. And the truth is she can, but she doesn't know that yet. So when the saboteur has a grip on her, that's what she's running. The fifth and final saboteur is the distractionist. Now, we see a fair amount of this in our culture today, especially with social media being what it is. The distractionist wants to do something really good in the world. She has some big dream that's kind of just sitting there inside of her, but she cannot, when she's under the spell of the saboteur, she just cannot beat it. She is much more likely to just go to something easy. So whether that's streaming something, whether that's Facebooking, whatever the app of the day is, creating laughter. She distracts with laughter rather than actually processing what's going on. And she also isn't getting everything she needs for her emotional, mental, physical support or spiritual. And she likes to distract from the spiritual support pretty frequently. She may have lost touch even with what her beliefs are. So those are the primary saboteurs.